Hello everybody, welcome to FPS Weekly number 36. My name is my name isn't Logicowl. My name is SirGrogshire with Digital Dynasty. And Logicowl is actually out of town and has not had time to do an FPS Weekly. So it's my turn to shine and tell you the FPS Weekly news of this week. Now we actually didn't do one last week because I got busy and Tristan was out of town. So we're going to start it off again this week. And I've got plenty of stories for you. And I know he normally does stories that pertain to his interest, but I'm going around the whole loop because pretty much everything interests me. So let's go ahead and get started. The first topic that we're going to talk about is something that's dear and near to my heart, since I've actually already done a music video on this, and that's going to be Dishonored. And not just Dishonored, we're going to talk about Dishonored 2. Now, Dishonored 2 got its release date officially last week on November 11th of 2016. We will see Dishonored 2, but it's not just that. We already know that Dishonored 2 is going to have two protagonists, one being Emily Corwin and the other one being Corvo Attano. The main difference is, even with two protagonists, Bethesda is not going to have a co-op. Now, this is coming from one of the lead developers themselves. They said that co-op would just ruin the gameplay, considering that this is going to be, it's a stealth game along with a go at your own pace game. So I kind of agree with them. Co-op would be a little interesting, but at the same time, having some sort of co-op would be really cool, but not really necessary for the Dishonored series. Moving on to story number 2. It's going to be Call of Duty, because FPS Weekly probably wouldn't be anywhere without Call of Duty. Well, Call of Poo Poo is going to be coming out again this year, obviously, with the announcement of Infinite Warfare being the name of the gameplay in this installment. But not only that, you're also going to be getting the Modern Warfare, the original Modern Warfare updates, graphical updates, and full rework, or as they call it, the prettier Call of Duty 4, along with Infinite Warfare. You cannot buy it on its own, according to developers, but you have to buy it with Infinite Warfare. This is kind of a low blow from Activision, because a lot of Call of Duty people don't really like the new installments. I mean, talk to me, Call of Duty 2 is still my favorite Call of Duty of all time. If they were to, they kind of did an update to that, more or less. They kind of just put 1, 2, and 3 in its own package, and it was weird. But either way, having the modern update for Call of Duty 4 is a huge step for Activision, but to have it not as a standalone, honestly, wouldn't be my decision. Alright guys, for the next story, we're going to talk about a game that a lot of people have been speculating for a long time. It was just announced this year, and apparently it's going to come out this year in fall, and that's going to be Outlast 2. Now, Outlast 1, you are a journalist who is going through an asylum just to get a scoop because of this asylum's so-called mishappenings and reports of strange going-on, but that's not the case for this one. In this one, you seem to be either a climber or a hiker that has fallen down a rock hill, and you're trying to find a way out while still having the creepy camera point of view. And, well, at least in the first one, you already get, in the first gameplay trailer, you already get a little bit of worry, just because one of the last scenes that you see is just people staring at you, which that alone is just some people's biggest fear, is just the fact of being watched. But in the second gameplay trailer, what seems to be going on is, right off the bat, you fall down these stairs and you're being chased by somebody, but you also see a lot of different things. One, you're hiding through a cornfield. You see a lot of the other things that you can hide in, including a pig trough and a barrel. The main thing that it looks like you're going to be in is going to be a cornfield. And at least in the scene that's on there, you're running from people with flashlights, and they don't seem to be the same deformed people that you deal with in Outlast 1. So this is actually going to be an interesting installment. I have no idea if it's going to be good or not, but expect more to come for those updates, or even official trailers. We've only gotten gameplay from it. We don't even have an actual trailer for it yet. But if there's a trailer, you know I'm going to be on it. Moving on to the next story. Obviously, Tristan has talked about this a lot, and we're all very excited about it, and that's going to be No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky developer Sean Murray, he, I guess, told us that, well, there's not going to be a story. No story at all. But there's going to be lore. A lot of fans kind of speculated about this, but honestly, having a story would probably take away from the gameplay. Having the lore for each planet, that's probably the best way to go. That one's going to be a short and sweet story. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say on that. Moving on to the next story, we have a game that was announced at PAX East by two ex-Assassin's Creed developers, Benjamin Sherbet and Mark Albanit. And what's interesting about this one is really not much is known, and even the development of it was pretty weird. Rogue kind of came out of nowhere, as the two developers just put, in their words, they just simply built a shelter and square modules, and it became this. Baroque is a survival game based on Mars, and, well, it's kind of like a really sci-fi Minecraft with better graphics. But go ahead and watch the video. Obviously, there's going to be a link to the story down below. Really not much is else known about this game, but it should be interesting. For this next story, it's going to be an interesting one, considering it's not technically a first-person shooter, it's just a first-person experience. This game is a VR game called Valiant. Valiant is going to be a first-person multiplayer virtual reality game, where in the trailer they show at least 60 seconds worth of jousting. There's archery, javelin, many different medieval, I guess, competitions. But basically the whole thing about it is just, one, it's VR, and two, it's a multiplayer VR game. So not only do you have to have more than one person that has VR set, which is kind of hard at the moment unless you want to pay for the Vive or not get the full version of the Oculus, you're kind of out of luck. But the game itself looks really cool, and it was at least worth mentioning in this FPS Weekly. Alright, that brings me to my final story, which is, of course, the well talked about Friday the 13th game, which the Friday the 13th game is once again not a first person shooter, but a first person horror game. Now, at least from the trailer, you can tell that Jason Voorhees, who a lot of people still don't know, and I don't know how not, he is one of the most iconic horror people in all of horror. Thank you, 70s, and your wonderful horror genre. But the Friday the 13th game basically is a multiplayer game where one person can be one of the survivors, the other one can play as Jason Voorhees. Now, there was a Friday the 13th game that was made a long time ago, and it was actually I believe it was an 8-bit game, but this game looks way better and far more graphically pleasing. Because if you look at it, the main trailer actually just shows a hide-and-seek gameplay where you're one of the victims hiding underneath a bed, and Jason Voorhees just comes in, here's Johnny the door. But honestly, this could be one of the biggest horror games of the year, but one of the least talked about ones, just because it's Friday the 13th. It's had its due, it's had its moment in the sun, but nobody looks at Friday the 13th and looks like, that's an awesome game. this very well could be a Game of the Year candidate if done right, and very well could be a horror game of the year. It's a very anticipated game, especially since we haven't had the other Friday the 13th game, which came out a long time ago. People have been waiting for an update on it. Well, that does it for FPS Weekly number 36. My name is SirGrogshire. If you liked me doing it instead of Tristan, leave a like, make a comment, do whatever you want. Maybe I'll be back. But yeah, either way, you should subscribe to the channel because that's where you're gonna get all the updates on videos. And we got something special coming for our 1 year anniversary, so make sure to stay looking out for that. Otherwise, this weekend is gonna be chock full of episodes. We've got this coming out, and then we should have 2 other videos coming out this weekend, including on Monday. So keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, my name's SirGrogshire, and I'm heading out.